All right, welcome Athletes Podcast listeners to the 7th episode of the Athletes Podcast. Welcoming in my guest today, Tyler Johnson, a 25-year-old from St. Catharines, Ontario, a Brock University and Niagara College graduate, recently crowned IFBB Pro and Mr. Canada Classic Physique. He is also the founder and coach of JFP Coaching. Tyler, thank you for coming on the episode today, and let's hear a little bit about yourself. Give the podcast listeners an introduction.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. So I just graduated from Brock University, sport management. Graduated in June. That was a 5-year process and took the extra year. I've been competing ever since. I've been in college, actually. My second year, I believe, I started competing. I was 19. I did my first show in 2013, October 19th, and done 10 shows. My 10th show was recently, October 19th, just this year. And I started out men's physique with the board shorts, won my first show, the overall, did a few more shows, provincial level, national level, placed top 5 in all of them, and went to the Arnold's, didn't place there, went to nationals again, didn't place there. And then I was like, okay, like I got to switch to Classic Physique because it was brand new in 2016. So I was like, okay, like I feel like I could, do some damage here. Won my first show in Stratford, and then placed 3rd in Ontario. Took 2017 off. Did the Toronto International Pro Qualifier in 2018. Got first in my class, no overall. Only the overall wins their pro card.
Okay.
Then I got 2nd in nationals last year, 2018, and then took this whole year off, and then competed this year, and that's where I won my pro card.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's a fantastic accomplishment given how difficult and competitive bodybuilding is. So give the listeners a bit of a rundown on, Classic Physique versus, the bodybuilding side. What are the different lifestyle areas?
So in the competition, like in the IFBB, they have 3 categories for men. They have men's physique, which is with the board shorts. It's like a beach body look, but
Okay.
I mean they're definitely way more jacked and lean than a beach body. But Classic Physique, they have a weight cap per your height.
Okay.
So because I'm like, depending on how I diet, I'm 5'8" and a bit. So my weight cap is 190 pounds and under.
Okay.
Meaning, like, if I'm 191, like, I can't compete.
Right.
Like, I weighed in 190.8 last year, or 0.6, and they told me go lose the 0.6.
And is that on the day of the show? Is that a week
That's
prior?
the day before the show, usually.
Okay.
This year, they actually had to weigh in the morning of the prejudging. So there's a prejudging finals. Prejudging is where, like, everything happens. So that's where the judges, like, compare you all. You come out and, like, compare to the class, and they place you sort of where they want to see you.
Okay.
Like from 1st to 5th, and then like 6th to 10th, depending on how many people there are. And then the finals is sort of just like kind of get your award, like
right.
for your parents to come and watch, and like nothing's judged in the finals except for the overall.
Okay.
So the way the overall sets up is each class winner. Most classes for most categories are by height. Bodybuilding is by weight.
Okay.
So then the class winners, depending on how many classes there are, compete against each other for the overall. And then that's where the one overall is crowned. And then so for bodybuilding's weird because bodybuilding at an amateur level, there's so many different weight classes.
Right.
So literally anyone can go in and you just compete in your weight class. So you get different like conditioning levels, like in different heights. So it's kind of weird. But for bodybuilding, I mean, if you want to go pro, like you got to be really fucking big. Like
right.
That's the difference. And then also the difference is the trunks, like the posing suits. Men's physique is board shorts, so you don't show your legs or anything. Classic physique they're like boxers sort of, but they're actually like they got moved up, like the cut is higher now.
Okay.
So you can see like a little bit of the glutes, and like you can see like more of the upper leg.
Right. So it's an emphasis on a full body physique.
Yes.
In comparison to just strictly more of an upper body.
Yes,
and
exactly. And then bodybuilding, the difference between bodybuilding and classic, other than the size requirement for when you're pro, is the trunks are like the Speedo.
Right.
So you can see more of the glutes, and you can see like basically all of the legs. Like
yeah,
you literally see the entire physique, other than you're junk basically.
Fair enough. So what got you into bodybuilding? I mean, it's something that we see a lot of, early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s guys that get into it. They get really dedicated to the sport. Is that stemming from playing sports at a younger age, being an athlete? Where does that come from?
So I played competitive hockey and soccer my whole life. I wouldn't say that high. Like, I think my highest for hockey was AA, and I was one of the higher level AA players. Soccer, I was like pretty much like Niagara region, like nothing crazy, but hockey, I remember I got cut from AAA. I was probably like 16 or 17, and I got cut, and they literally told me, like, you're not aggressive enough. I'm like, well, fuck. True.
Yeah.
I was 120 pounds at 17 years old.
Jesus.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, you're right, I'm not aggressive enough because I'm getting fucking manhandled by guys who I'm like, these guys are fucking monsters. They're 140, 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? So that sort of drove me a little bit. I mean, like throughout high school, everyone goes through it. Like, you get bullied and shit. Like, so then you're like, okay, like, how do I handle this?
Right.
Like, Facebook posts about me, like, people just fucking drilling me. And I'm like, fuck, like, I don't really know, like, I don't even want to go to school, shit like that. And then, like, so because of hockey, and then you get bullied at hockey too. Like, I mean, everyone who's played sports has gotten ripped on in the dressing room. Like,
for sure.
For whatever it is. Anything they can find, they rip on you. And, hockey was pretty good for me, though. It wasn't, like, too bad. But again, you just get, like, tired of it, man. You're just like, okay, fuck this. And then you're like, I was 120 pounds. Like, I was a really small kid. Like, it wasn't like I was, like, a normal size. And, I was a really fucking small kid. So I wanted to train just to, like, get bigger for sports, sort of. Like, it was just sort of like maybe like an ego thing even, but also performance and...
Yeah, just building that base that you could use in the future.
Just something, man. For sure. Fucking 120 pounds, like...
Soaking wet.
Literally, like, men's small t-shirts hanging off of me, like...
Yeah.
And it was whatever. Like, I never really thought about it. Like, you don't really think about those things at the time. Like, during high school, like, I didn't really ever think about my physique at the time. I never looked at myself. I didn't really care. Yeah. Until I got told, like, yo, you're not aggressive enough. And I'm like, fuck, yeah, I'm small.
Something's got to change.
Yeah, something's got to change. And, man, I started, and, like, holy fuck, I was addicted so quick. Like, I blew up literally within, fucking the first month. Like, I was like 15 pounds up. My whole high school was like, yo, this kid's on steroids.
Really?
I didn't know what they were. Like, I hadn't, like, they're like, yo, you're taking D-ball. I'm like, what the fuck is D-ball? Like, I don't even know what any of these words mean. Because I went from 120 to like 150 within the first 2 or 3 months.
Wow. Which is common, though, in the sense that,
common, man.
When people start working out, their body reacts, especially if they have good genes.
I did nothing, man. I was a cardio head. Like, I did nothing but hockey, soccer, track, football, fucking anything that involved cardio, I did. Across country, like, I only did cardio. Like, that was fun for me. Right. And I didn't eat because I gamed. I was a gamer. Like, I played COD all the time, Chell. Like, I would just game hard. So I'd eat, like, a box of cookies and, like, a bottle of Coke a day. Like, that was it. Like, that was my diet.
Not quite filling the macros out.
No, like, macros weren't a thing at the time. Macros weren't even a thing when I started competing. Like, that's how much this has evolved. Really? Yeah, and, yeah, man, I just blew up because I just started eating because now I'm hungry because I'm training. Yeah. Right? So now I'm like, holy fuck, like, I actually want to eat food. And then all of a sudden I'm eating, like, real food. Yeah. No more cereal, no more, like, toast. Like, that was my diet, too. Yeah. I'm eating more food, and then I'm, like, drinking water, which I never drank water. I'm like, why do I feel like shit all the time? Like, it's just my body hates me. Well, I didn't fucking drink any water. I drink Coke all day.
Yeah, you get what you put in, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I went from, like, 120 to 150, and then, obviously people start complimenting you a little bit more, and I'm like, who the fuck am I for you to be complimenting me on my body? I'm a skinny kid. Right. And then, yeah, man, and then the therapy out of that of just like, wow, you don't really get bothered by shit anymore, like even the bullying and shit like that. Like, you don't really, like, think about it anymore because you're like, I'm just so obsessed with going to the gym. Yeah. Like, that's all you think about. Like, I'd be in class, like, I'd have, like, computer classes and bodybuilding.com, and I'm like, what exercise should I do today? Like, yeah. It was fucked, man. Like, what should I be eating? Like,
it's amazing how quickly, I think, having that training or having just that something to look forward to in the day. Yeah. And then, those little comments of, like, whatever it is, people bullying, people bothering you, you shrug it off because it, in the grand scheme of things, it means nothing.
Doesn't mean anything because I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, you know, I'm a pussy, but like I'm going to the gym anyway.
Yeah.
So fuck all of you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, yeah, you're probably right, but I'm gonna go train.
And one day I won't be a pussy.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was a crazy transition of waking up and being excited to go do something.
Yeah.
Like, you know how you wake up for game day.
Yeah.
Game day's every fucking day now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's crazy. Like, that was a crazy part. You're like, holy fuck, like your whole day revolved around thinking about going to the gym. What am I going to train? What exercises? How much weight am I going to lift? Like, what am I going to eat? Like, should I eat this before the gym because I'm going to get fucking swole? Like, what should I eat after the gym? Like, when am I going to eat after? Like, all these thoughts going through your head every single day. And you're like, holy fuck. Like, this is a huge transition from, you know, when am I going to start playing COD? I wonder when the boys are going to be online so we can, you know, fucking rip a game of domination. Like, just stupid shit, right? And then you, like, start to realize, like, when you're training, like, why did I game so much? Like, what the fuck did I even get out of that?
Just part of growing up, getting older,
That's
maturity,
it, right? Like,
and
it's fun, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you're like, wait, what did I get out of that other than an online score, an online kill-death ratio, right? Like, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, okay, so take us through, you know, you mentioned now every day, you know, every day is game day, which is fantastic. We're going to be definitely using that as a quote. But 365, like every day you're waking up, you're grinding. So take us through the average day. What are you eating? What are some of the, you know, how much are you drinking as far as water? Take us through the day of Tyler Johnson.
Fuck, man. Okay, so I'll take you through an off-season day because that's more interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
We can get into prep for sure, but
sure.
Off-season's a bit more fun. So I'll give you like an outline of what I eat now and sort of what I was eating in the off-season before this prep, because right now I'm in a reverse diet, so I'm sort of trying to be, you know, somewhat good still. I don't want to blow up and get uncomfortable, but so I wake up, you know, whatever. Like right now I'm waking up pretty early, like 6, 7. I text Clay at like fucking 5:30 some days, just like going through ideas, and she's like, bro, what the fuck, man? Like, wakes up at 8 or 9 o'clock, and he's like, what the fuck, man? Like,
got 42 messages.
Literally.
It's okay, Jordan feels the same way sometimes,
like,
I'm sure.
Again, you wake up excited, right? But anyway, so I wake up, 4 eggs, usually whole eggs, maybe like a half cup of egg whites mixed in, probably like at least a few handfuls of shredded cheese in there.
Okay.
And then I'll do a bagel with cream cheese. That's usually like my standard breakfast. And then I'll have about like 7 rice cakes with Nutella right before I train.
Okay. Wow.
Or like 4 or 5 cookies and like 2 muffins.
So just those simple carbs right away to get that energy.
Because I train after my first, technically second meal.
Okay.
So I'll do like one breakfast, and then I'll have like a snack sort of thing. Fucking snack of like probably 80 carbs, but you know, whatever. And then I'll go train. Water, I have at least a liter before I go train. At least a liter while I train.
Okay.
Get home again, simple carbs right away, like oatmeal with a banana, with Nutella, with, you know, some Nesquik in there.
Yeah.
You know, for some flavor. And then I'll have like maybe like a couple like sandwiches with like lunch meat.
Okay.
Just right away again. That'll be like 30 minutes after I had my oatmeal. I'll throw in muffins here and there, like cookies, or if I have them, but I'll go like sausage, like some red meat and like potatoes, and then like I don't really eat chicken too much in the off season.
Okay.
It's more of a prep thing. You just get tired of it.
Right.
I'll do oatmeal again. I'll do probably red meat again, and then I snack a lot, man. Honestly, like ice cream is huge for me, a huge staple.
So you're not worried at all about the sugar intake when you're in the off season?
No, man. Like,
no. Okay.
Here's the reason. Like I'll literally, I'm not even joking, I would literally eat a full cheesecake in a sitting probably at least once or twice a week. I'd have a pint of ice cream every single day. I'd have the big bags of Sour Patch Kids, like the watermelon sour cherry blasters. Yeah. I'd have those. A big bag would probably take me 2 days of pre-workout. And then a bag of chips every day for sure.
How much are you spending on groceries?
A lot of money, man. Like, a grocery haul for me is probably like, so I think my last Costco run was pretty cheap, and I really didn't grab that much. It was like $150, but that was like last week, and I'm already out.
Wow.
And that's not including like snacks and shit. That's not including I eat fast food a lot. I
really?
eat fast food on my way here.
So you don't have any, you know, restrictions sort of in the off season as far as what you're taking in, putting into your body?
Absolutely not.
And so take me through that, because the stick, or the consensus
is that you should be eating clean. And
correct.
If you look at me, you're like, wow, this guy eats chicken and rice all day.
Yeah.
Fuck no. Like, no. Like, there's a few reasons why. First of all, like, I want to live my life the way I want to live my life. Like, I don't want to ever live a life where I'm like, oh, I can't have ice cream because I have to be a bodybuilder. Like, fuck no. If I want ice cream, I need ice cream. The reason I can stay relatively lean, like, I stay relatively lean. I don't really ever get too, fat. I never look fat or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's two reasons. One is my training intensity.
Okay.
Like, most weeks I train twice a day. So, like, 4 days a week I train twice a day.
Wow.
And then I train the other 3 days.
Okay.
So I train 7 days a week.
And what's that split look like? Sorry.
So I honestly just do like a 5-day split. So it's like chest one day, maybe like arms the next day, back the next day, shoulders, and then legs.
Yeah.
That's my split.
Okay.
But some days I'll do like, I did chest today. I might go back later and do arms.
Wow.
And then I'll do like back tomorrow. Then I'll do shoulders next day and then legs.
So you're burning thousands of calories a day. So it's
just training.
Yeah. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Just training. And like, people who have either trained with me or know of my training, it's very heavy and it's very high volume.
Okay.
So I get a question a lot from people and they're like, well, should I go really heavy, like low reps, or should I go really high volume, low weight? And I'm like, well, why don't you go high volume with heavy weight?
Yeah.
Right? Like because again, it's like a one or the other.
Right.
Well, you're only going to get half the results then, right? So then I train, high volume, high weight. I train very, very, very hard, to the point where like I question myself after. I'm like, fuck. Like, you have to question yourself. Like, you have to be like, fuck, did I even train hard enough? When I'm literally breaking my body down. Like, I'm literally sore every day. Like, there's never a day where I'm not in pain somewhere.
Wow.
Right? So then, and then the other reason is because of hockey.
Right.
Like, I've literally been playing. I've never gone a full year without hockey.
Okay.
And I just started adding in 2 years ago summer hockey. So I play year round.
So is that your cardio then, instead of keeping it something that's amusing instead of just sitting on a treadmill for hours?
Yeah. So
hours a
in
day?
the off season, I 100% usually only do hockey, and then back in Brock I was doing the intramurals too, and then I'd have two games a week.
Okay.
Which was a lot, honestly. That was actually really hard for me to grow because that meant I had to eat a lot more fucking food.
Right.
So that's sort of something I have to keep in mind, is like, especially on hockey days, like I have to eat a lot of food. Like, I'm not even joking, I will literally lose 5 pounds overnight.
Wow.
Like, it's crazy.
So your metabolism is just running at a high rate 24/7.
All the time. Like, and that's something, it's funny because people will be like, oh, your genetics are great, like you can stay lean. It's like, well, it's my metabolism, which literally anybody can train.
Yeah.
Like, you can train your metabolism to be fast.
Right.
Like, that's sort of like the point. So that's why I'm able to sort of get away with the food that I'm eating.
Okay.
Because I'm playing hockey. I'm playing hockey year round. Like, no fucking shit, I have a fast metabolism, and then my training on top of it.
Yeah. Well, and you're in the gym 7 days a week. That
7
helps.
days a week, 8, 9, 10 days, like times a week.
Yeah.
Right. And then like, yeah, and then people are like, well, how can you eat like that? It's like, well, fuck, man. If you train like me, and even, even if you played hockey, like if you play like, holy fuck, like like it's hard shit.
It is.
It's harder even when you're fucking 230, 240 pounds.
Yeah.
With the equipment on.
Yeah. So what are you weighing in at now then, compared to your show weight? I believe you said it was 190 your cap, and what do you typically sit at in the off season, and what's that drop like for when you're prepping for shows?
So right at this moment, because I'm still in a reverse diet, and I've been relatively, I've had a very healthy reverse diet. It could go horribly wrong, and it has. Right now I'm 215, 218.
Okay.
My stage weight, the weigh-in without clothing on was 186.5. That was like no food, no water though. Like, that was me running on empty.
Yeah.
My weight going into peak week, which is a more accurate representation of where my body was in terms of body fat, was 201.
Okay. And
then in the off season, regularly, like a normal weight for me is like 230, between 230 and 240 depending. Like, I get pretty hefty, sometimes in the off season. That's where I'm really pounding the food.
Right.
My heaviest I've ever been was 244, and that was not very comfortable. Like, it was fine, but I'd get really sore, I'd get really tight.
Yeah.
I dropped down to like 230-ish. When I started my prep this year, I was full off season. I was really lean. I was like 224. But I'd say like 230 is my average weight for off season.
Gotcha. And what's that process of, it's how many weeks is it for that prep, and do you ever worry that what you're putting your body through is harmful, in the long run, or is that something that, you're doing it in a healthy fashion? What's that? Take us through that.
So prep typically would be about 10 to 12 weeks for me. 10 on the average side, which is not a lot of time. 12 on the higher side for me personally. It's only because I get lean very quickly. I drop weight very quickly.
Okay.
I drop probably 40 pounds at least in a prep in 12 weeks or 10 weeks. It's not healthy. But this prep, man, this prep was so healthy. I never once, listen, I've had, issues in terms of what I felt. I felt toxic, man. By the end of it, I'm just wow, I cannot wait to not do this anymore.
Yeah.
Between I'll be honest, between the PEDs, but between the high protein, you're eating fucking 300 grams of protein. That's so bad on your kidneys to be doing every day.
Yeah.
The water intake, you can go up to fucking 6, 8, 10 liters at a time, depending on where you're at. That's so much water for the protein intake.
Yeah.
For your kidneys when you're you have no body fat.
Yeah.
And then even you're running on low carb, you're running on low fat. I was on no fat at 8 weeks out, other than chicken.
Jesus.
My carbs were 80, probably around 8 weeks out. They went down to 20.
And are you using that motivation, that you had through high school of people chirping in the dressing room? Is that what's driving you through during prep? Or because that mental state, I can't even imagine what it's like.
A little bit, man. But honestly, a lot of, maybe subconsciously more so than anything, a lot of it's sort of just in the past. I don't really think too much about it. But I don't know, man. When I was younger, I always, when I'm playing hockey and shit, and I'm just fuck, I feel there's a greater purpose of all of this.
Okay.
I feel I was just I'm I need to be great at something, and then I'm well, hockey's not working out, soccer's not working out. Fuck, those were what I spent my whole life doing. And then I started bodybuilding, and I'm I don't know, man. This feels good. You know what I mean? I'm connecting with it, and people are noticing, and I'm not even really trying, right? I just love doing this. And whereas hockey and soccer, as excited as you are, you don't train every day for it. You know what I mean? You train on practice days and game day, and that's it. So it's a 2 to 3 day a week type of sport, whereas this is 7 days a week, 24/7.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was so into it, and I remember at at 19, that was the first time I competed, and I told people I'm gonna compete and I'm gonna win my show. And everyone's no, you're not. You don't win your first show. You're there's politics. And I was just no, I'm going to win my first show. I won my first show. And then I was I'm going to go pro. And then that was I'm going to turn pro. And then I don't know, ever since I've just been obsessed, man, because you just get this mindset of I'm going to be great, but why am I not great yet?
Right.
I don't have anything to show for that yet, right? So this prep, different than others, I was just I'm not, I'm tired of fucking losing. I'm tired of fucking losing. Why am I putting my body through this, my mental health through this, my fucking business, my everything, my family, my friends, my relationships, everything. I'm putting them through shit to fucking lose. So what do I have to show for that?
Yeah.
So this time, man, the difference was just I need to fucking win.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of losing.
No other option.
There's no other option. Listen, either you're gonna be great or you're not.
Yeah.
Right? It's black and white. Either you're going to be great or you're not. And there just wasn't. Yeah, I never really felt I even had a chance to lose. And I think that's what sort of propelled me through the whole prep. I was just there was a sense of confidence, but it was definitely a sense of cockiness too. And you need that as an athlete. You need that look at Kobe Bryant, LeBron, Michael Jordan. They're so fucking cocky.
Yeah.
In competition.
Yeah.
Humble outside of competition.
Yeah.
In game, they're gonna fuck you up. You know what I mean? They're the man.
Yeah.
They're not scared of anybody else. They're going in there to be the best.
Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it when those guys step on the court, on the ice, whatever it is. People lose sight of what it takes to become the best, I think. And it's, even just the way you talk about it on here and how emotional you get, it's drawn from that ultimate desire to be the best possible version of yourself.
Yeah, man. And fuck, all my friends see how emotional I really get. when I won. And like you just have to, like, it sounds cliche, but you have to believe, man. And like when you believe, like, there's really no other option. Like, you can't fucking lose. Like, and it's not just a false sense of belief, though. It's a real, like, bro, every cardio session I did, I fucking cry on the treadmill. It's not, I'm not crying because the cardio's hard. I'm envisioning, like, the win. Like, I'm envisioning, like, my parents out there, and, like, it was real. Like, you go in the game and, like, the championship game, like, that's a real vision. That's not I hope I win. It'd be really cool if I won. Like, wow, that would be really nice. Imagine. Like, I'm not imagining shit. Like, I'm creating the vision in my head, like, while I'm prepping for it, and I'm like, holy fuck. Like, literally on the treadmill, and I'm like, I can fucking win. Like, can't, like, and then, of course, you have doubts. Like, of course, you're like,
for sure.
Fuck, like, can I be great? Because I haven't been great this whole time, right? I was confident before, and it fucking fell to pieces before. And then it's that, like, you're just like, no, fuck that. Like, fuck, of course I'm gonna be great. Like, I'm the only one willing to do this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I was with Clay, I was with a few others in the gym, I think 6.5 weeks out. We were training shoulders and shooting some videos and stuff, and we have them. And I remember my coach Amber was like, this is our last set. He's like, yo, go till failure. And I was at, like, probably 8-10 reps, and failure, 15, 20 reps, pretty good set. I'm not even joking, I was doing single arm dumbbell raises, and I did 50 reps each arm. So I did 100 fucking rep set. I broke down after. I don't even think they knew. I broke down after because I was like, I just won this fucking show.
Yeah.
Like, I knew in that moment no one was willing to do that ever. And, like, I knew right then and there. I literally cried in the gym because I was just like, I just fucking won 6.5 weeks out. Yeah.
You just knew you were in that mental state.
I knew I was zoned in, like nobody else could be zoned in, and the problem with, I don't want to bash any of the competitors or anything, but the problem with a mentality of like, oh, like, I'm gonna have a good, like, I really hope I do well. You know what I mean? Like I used to be like that. Yeah. Like, I hope I do well. I hope I
half committed, half pregnant,
half-assed, man.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go in there literally saying, fuck all of you, I'm winning. Like, have a good experience. I hope you have a fun time. Like, we'll shake hands after. I'll be your friend after, but, like, I'll be your friend after my job is done.
So, and that's interesting because people look at, these sort of quote unquote individual sports, and as competitive as they are, people don't necessarily attribute that level of competition to bodybuilding being on the stage. So, is there that, intensity between competitors, or is it what's that situation
it's hit or miss, like? Man, I've noticed it's either very, like, there's a real sense of camaraderie.
Okay.
Because we all prepped, man. We all dieted. We all killed ourselves. And then there's the other half of, the very, like, fuck all of you. Like, I don't, like, I'm too hardcore to talk to people. It's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody. Like, I will be friendly with anyone there. Before the prejudging where the magic happens, I'm probably not going to be as friendly before that. Not because I don't want to talk to, like, not because I don't want to be friendly. I'm just zoned in.
Yeah, you're focused.
That's it. And then after the prejudging, hey man, good job. Like, like, you look great, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Be their friend after. Yeah. Again, be their friend after the job's done. I would say there's a pretty big sense of camaraderie. Like, I've made a lot of friends through competing, and I'll be honest, this show I was not as talkative. Again, I was just so zoned in, and I was just like, you know what, you guys can go talk. Have a good time together. But, like, I'm here to fucking win. I'll talk to you once I get my card.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So now you've created this brand that is your name, and just recently in the past year and 2 days now, you founded JFP Coaching. Yeah. Take us through what that's been like, and not just necessarily from the coaching aspect, but you're also managing this business on its own, and it's that on top of training yourself, prepping yourself, and prepping multiple athletes. What's that like?
It's been fucking crazy, man. So I used to work for Hammer Fitness.
Okay.
As a coach. Hammer hired me as a coach, and I used to work under him. Had my own clients, however many, and then I'd help manage the other coaches' clients. He had about 8 coaches.
Okay.
So I'd help manage those clients. So, like, that sort of that responsibility gave me the confidence to do this. Like, and that's something I'm extremely thankful for. But then it came down to, okay, what's my vision? You know, where do I want to go with this versus where does he want to go with this? And like we butt heads because it's like, well, that's his vision and this is my vision. And I just got to a point where, you know, I'm very confident in what I can do because of what you've taught me.
Right.
Now it's time to go on my own. Right. We don't need to keep butting heads. Like, this is your business. I'm not going to get in the way of that. Yeah, that was a fucking crazy transition, man. I was like 5 weeks out of my show when I decided it. And I think that really attributed to, you know, how shitty that outcome was for that show.
Okay.
Because I had the stress of literally not only leaving my job that I've had for 2 years and my security of income, but now I'm starting my own business and I have no security of income and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
And all that weighs on your shoulders.
Literally
24/7, never
everything.
stops.
And then, yeah, man, there was a lot of just, you know, like a lot of things to do with the business. I just like didn't know what to do. I'm just like, I don't know, just fucking send me your money and, you know, we'll work. And that was it. Like, I just wanted to work.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, now it's a business.
Yeah.
Like, that's like I just like to work, man. So no, that was crazy because I have so many different clients who are on different levels of life and different stages of life, and, you know, men, women, like, you know, in their 40s and their 20s, and, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, and you're trying to manage all these, like, let's say there's like 50 people like total, and you're trying to manage 50 different personalities and 50 different lifestyles.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to manage your own.
Yeah.
You know, like I did all this shit while I was in school. You know what I mean? Like,
so you were used to having that workload then.
So I was used to having a workload, but now I have a fucking business. Yeah. Right? So now I have a business and I'm trying to finish my university degree.
Right.
And I'm trying to prep myself.
Yeah.
So it was crazy, man. And then I ended up hiring Maggie Johnson, like, to sort of take over those business tasks. Yeah. I guess, like the daily, you know, like
day-to-day operations.
Yeah. Because I was like, I just need to focus on work. Like, I can't be focusing on like random inquiries and chasing people down for money and clothing orders and, like, you know, and sponsors and all this different shit. Like, I can't be. You have to delegate. Like, you have to learn how to delegate. And, like, that's sort of an issue I had at the beginning because, you know, I have an ego, right? So, like, we all have egos, and you're like, well, I don't want to give someone power. Yeah. Right? I don't want to give someone power over my business, or, like, and then, like, that was the struggle from the beginning. So I'm like, well, fuck, I do need someone to do it.
Yeah. It's a balancing act of whether you want to give up that equity and whether you can trust that individual to do stuff as well, right?
Trust is the biggest issue with me. And everyone's like, oh, you're going to hire a new coach, like, to take over? I'm like, I don't fucking trust anybody. Yeah. I only trust myself. Yeah. To do the job I want done, right? And that was one of the biggest downfalls I saw when I was with Hammer Fitness, is like, you can't trust anyone to do the same work as you. And then you're associated with that. Yeah. Right? Like, you're like, if
could
you're
tarnish your image.
You're under my name. Yeah. And if you fuck up once, like, that's my name. Yeah. Right? At least if I fuck up, I can own it. Yeah. I can't. It's hard to own it for someone else, right? So at least then it's like, you know, like, I have her to do the day-to-day operations, and now I just get to work. And honestly, ever since, like, it's been fucking crazy, man. Ever since she started, because now I can, like, this has been my best work probably in the last 3 or 4 months. And the fucked up thing is I've been prepping the whole time. Yeah. Right?
It's just an insane workload, but having that extra person that's around that knows your expectations, it's crucial. Yeah. It's the same with, you know, having Jordan or the individuals you're getting around your business as well, right? Yeah. So when you have clients who are approaching you, they're interested in competing, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's just improving their athletic ability on its own, are you going through a screening process with them? Are you making sure that, you know, when a client comes to you, that they're dedicated, that they're committed to doing something as well? Because I feel like that's something that could be an issue for sure, especially when you want to build your brand and put your stamp on someone. You can't have someone who's gonna, you know, half-ass it, right?
Yeah. So, you know, most people that work with me, well, all people that work with me, I'm a no bullshit kind of coach. Like, I have nothing but constructive criticism to give you. Right. I'm never going to tell you that you're great. I'm never going to because that's not going to help you. Mm-hmm. I'll say, hey, listen, like, you've improved, you look good, whatever. But so the screening process, first and foremost, I have them do a registration form. What are your goals? When do you want to achieve this goal by? You know, what's your goal weight, or what's, you know, like, just sort of like, again, like, are you serious about, like, do you even know what you want to do?
Yeah.
Or are you just contacting me because you're like, well, fuck, like, you know, at least if I contact him, then
makes it seem like I'm putting in
right,
effort.
like I took a step, so that's good enough.
Yeah.
I've had so many people, man, quit within a week. They just don't check back in, and it's like you paid me for a month worth of work. Like, why are you not taking advantage of that? And it's because it's a bit of a, so that's what I needed Maggie for.
Right.
I can't be chasing you down if you're not serious. Like, I you know, at least then she can be like, hey, you know, like, you haven't checked in. Like, are you okay? You know, like, are you planning to continue work? Because at the end of the day, like, it's a supply and demand. Like, you know, if I have so many other clients, like, I don't want to be taking time away from people who are serious, and people who I can do better work with. Yeah. For someone who's not, who doesn't even care to check in. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And you're not only taking athletes who want to bodybuild, who want to compete on the stage. You've got people who are just simply coming in to work and improve their overall health, their life in general. Where do you find the most rewarding work, and what do you enjoy doing most?
Honestly, both, man. I know it's not the right answer, but so I'll explain both, though, why they're most fulfilling. Because, okay, I'll start with the competitor, because I love to compete. Yeah. I love to win, right? So when I see a competitor not only transform their body, transform their mind, that's a huge fucking win for me. Mm-hmm. And then I actually get to see them win, or like however they place. Like, I don't really care how they place, to be honest. Like, I don't put pressure on them to win. I just like to win. Yeah. And they like to win. That's why they work with me. Mm-hmm. You know, so that, again, it's just that validation of on show day they get their hand raised and you're like, fuck, like, let's go. Yeah. Like that, and like, again, it's like, it's not just the win. Like, anyone can win. Anyone can have great genetics. Anyone can start in a great spot, and then you take them, and like, that's not fulfilling. Like, to take someone who's already great and just like, okay, here, like, let's go win the show. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not fulfilling. Like, it's fulfilling to take someone from scratch, someone who doesn't even believe like they can compete. Mm-hmm. And then they win fucking 4 months later, right? Like, that, you're like, you weren't even someone who even thought about competing before. Yeah. Now you're showing your entire body on stage for people to literally judge you. Yeah. Right? Like, it's crazy. And then for the lifestyle person, like, man, I've had so many, like, I even just posted today, but I've had so many people, like, their health improves working with me. Like, right. Like, women lose their periods, whether it's because of hardcore dieting, hardcore training, just in general, like, they're because it's a stress thing, right? Like, the more their body's stressed, the more they have to overcompensate. Okay. And for women, 9 times out of 10, it's their menstrual cycle that goes to shit. Like, they just stop getting period. Right. Like, I've had probably at least 20 girls that I've worked with directly be like, I haven't had a period in 6 months. I just got it working with you. And like, that to me is a huge thing, man, because, you know, of course, girls are like, well, I don't really want a period, because it's like, it is an inconvenience, don't get me wrong, but now you can't have a kid.
Something we're both not having to deal with as males.
Yes, so I can't talk too much shit about it, but like, you know, at the same time, it's like, you can't have a kid. And you don't even think about that when you're in your 20s. Yeah. Maybe in your 30s, you're like, I don't know, like, they just like accept it, and like, that's not okay. Yeah. Right? So for me, the first and foremost for women is like, okay, like, let's just get your health back on track, because again, they have thyroid issues. Like, there's so many health problems that I find with the lifestyle people that I work with that I want to work on. Right. Versus their physique. I don't even give a fuck what you look like. Yeah. Like, let's get this shit.
Your goal is to make sure that they're healthy
before we start actually changing their physique. And then again, seeing them change from someone who doesn't even want to, who goes in they go in the pool with clothing on, right? Someone who goes in the pool with clothing on, and now they're in a bathing suit, happy,
excited to take their shirt off, show off their body.
Like, how do you like, I don't give a fuck if you compete. Yeah. Like, that alone, like, I've had people. I had a girl just the other day be like, yo, I literally just bought pants and now they're too big on me. Right? Like,
that's cool.
Sorry, like, you waste your money on those pants, but like, that's fucking
What's their
amazing.
Return policy, right?
Yeah, right? Like, it's so crazy to me, like, to see people change as individuals. And of course, that's all them. But having that small role in their life that helped them sort of make those changes, like, that's fucking, like, that to me beats any win on a competition, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I genuinely enjoy working with both, but I have probably an equal amount of both, honestly.
Interesting. So you've just recently won your IFBB Pro card, the Mr. Canada Classic Physique. What are the next steps? What's in your 1 year, your 5 year, your 10-year plan? What's the ultimate end goal with JFP coaching as well as, with Tyler Johnson?
So for me personally, it's funny because there's a pro show first ever in Niagara in 2 weeks, and it's fuck, it's so convenient for me to go do. I live here, but my mentality is I want to win.
Right.
I'm not going to go win that show in 4 weeks of notice. Right, because I won 2 weeks ago, so I had 4 weeks of notice on it. I'm not going to win the show. Mentally, I'm not going in to win it.
Right.
So my plan is, it really depends on how the off season goes. It depends on how my growth goes. It depends on how my health is by next spring probably. I'm for sure going to compete next year in a pro show when I feel like I'm ready to win, whether it's June, July, whether it's November.
Yeah.
So the tentative plan is to compete next November, so I have that full year.
Okay.
Win, and then that would qualify me for the Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
And that would give me another full year to grow.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I really believe that if things go the way I need them to go, I can be standing and possibly winning the Mr. Olympia in 2021. And for those who don't know, the Mr. Olympia is the Super Bowl of body. It's the only the best competition, the best of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really doubted that. That, people are oh, why don't you do this show or this show? It's well, no, I want to win.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm going into the prep knowing I'm going to win. The same way I did this. That was why I won.
Yeah, you're not competing for the sake of competition.
Fucking clout, man. Just I'm a pro. I'm competing as a pro. I'm in a pro show.
Yeah. I
don't give a fuck about what the show is. I'm going in to win the show, right? JFP though, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, but I want to create a lot more content with Clay, with just with my clients, just in general. Create more content for them too, right? Because it, from a business perspective, it brings them in. Makes them more excited to work with you.
Yeah.
Posing seminars though, I have one next week for the clients to work on their posing. Fuck, man, there's so much clothing, more of that. We're doing clothing orders now, but I really think my goal though, and it's tougher because I'm only the coach, but my goal is this year to get my first pro.
Okay. And so what comes with, because you've already, I've seen you featured in magazines, posters, etc. What comes with, that next step of becoming a pro, and then after that, Mr. Olympia? Is it more sponsorships, endorsements? You've talked about creating your own supplement company. What are the things associated with becoming that IFBB and then, Mr. Olympia following? So,
other than, I guess there's more sponsorship and endorsements and opportunities, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
I've had offers, and I've turned down a lot of offers because I don't really care, man. I don't really, I'm not going to these fucking trade shows and shit and sampling off your product that I don't even like. You're not even paying me, you know what I mean? For me, for the opportunities that I want is honestly just to grow my personal brand. Mm-hmm. Between JFP and then I'm gonna start a supplement company. I just put in my first product order for pre-workout. It'll be ready in 8 weeks, probably 6 weeks.
Very cool.
And then just using sort of my personal brand to enhance those two brands. Mm-hmm. Compete. I don't know. I don't really care to promote someone else's vision.
Yeah.
They're just using you as a pawn, and hey, I don't disagree with that sort of mentality or the marketing.
Yeah,
it's smart, it's great, it works, but for me personally, I don't even like your shit, so why am I going to promote it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's refreshing to hear because there's so many people nowadays that automatically as soon as they get to X level or they get to a certain size, they try and go out and get all these sponsorship, get marketing, 10% whatever.
10% discount code.
Yeah, you plug in my last name and you end up with XYZ, right? And you can make some money in the short term, but the way you're talking about it and building a brand and building your own personal brand,
foundation, man.
Yeah, and it's that's where you can actually see long-term success, and you see a brand that you've created with your name behind it that lasts however long you want it to.
That's fucking crazy.
So
man,
cool.
I fucking October 31st, again, like, you know, I'm a little bit emotional when it comes to this shit, but like I broke down for like an hour straight. Like it was just nonstop, just uncontrollably sobbing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, tomorrow's my 1 year anniversary of JFP. Like, people are wearing my fucking name.
Yeah.
Like, that's so, people are like, yo, I see your shirts at the gym all the time. Like me.
Yeah.
Like, that's so fucked, man. Like, you even go to Brock, people are wearing my shit.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, how the fuck, like, man, like, who am I? I was that kid getting bullied at fucking, in high school, an okay athlete, an okay student, an okay at everything. And people are wearing my fucking shit now. Like, people are wearing my name and, like, repping my name and, like, proud to rep my name and, like...
Less than a decade later, right?
That's so fucking crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
Like, even the pro, like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, again, like, it's so crazy, man. I'm like, I don't know what I did to get this. You know what I mean? Like, it's been crazy, man.
I mean, you put in the hard work, and it's, as someone who's only really seen what you've done the past 4.5, 5 years, maybe. But, you know, I could tell right away you were dedicated to what you were doing. You were emotionally invested and you were physically invested. And that's, so many people nowadays will talk about how dedicated and motivated they are. But, you know, to your point, you didn't post a lot of shit before just recently when you started having more people.
It's only because Clay
right?
Upson, the creative pro.
Yeah.
Give him a shout out. Because, like, he created this content for because we just love it. You know what I mean? Like, we hadn't talked like probably 2 years. We went to high school together.
Wow.
Played football together. We met each other in grade 9 gym class, I believe, Mr. Flood. And we met each other that year, grade 9. We're like, you know, friendly acquaintances throughout high school. Like, we didn't really hang out or anything, but we were always friends in class and stuff. And played football together. We were defensive back together with 12B, I believe, right? The last year. And we got a little bit closer then, and then he got into training shortly after I did. Funny enough, I coached him for 3 shows, and our last he won, and then he had to stop, and then we had probably talked in like at least 2 or 3 years since then, and then sees me at the gym, this guy with a fucking huge fro. I'm like, this big smile on his face, and who the fuck is this guy? I find out it's like, because I haven't seen him in so long. He didn't have that fro then, and then he's like, yeah, if you ever want to shoot anything, let me know. And I'm like, you know, I'm in prep. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really into that. And then I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I need to build a brand now.
Yeah. And
this guy's fucking good at what he does. Because I saw his passion, and I saw the same passion that I have for bodybuilding, and he had that for filming and editing and creating videos and creating content. And that's been my biggest issue, is finding someone. I've worked with some people here and there who are like, yo, let's shoot, and like, yeah, but you're not even like that serious about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, I can't connect with somebody if they don't share that same passion that I do.
Yeah. Got to be all in.
That's it. And this guy's all in, and I was like, fuck, like, okay, like, let's go. Like, and I remember the first time we went, I think it was at Shoulder Day. Dude makes a fucking video, like, literally, it was 2 hours after he left. And he ate, he was like, he didn't like just get to work. Like, he just like chilled, like ate, sends me a video like 2 hours later, done. Like a 1 minute trail, like sick. Like, it was like fucking sick. And I'm like, dude, what the, like, you just made this in an hour.
Yeah.
Right? And then I was like, okay, let's go. Made it like a weekly thing. And we stopped probably the last 2 weeks because I was just dead. I didn't want to drive to Scarborough anymore to see my coach. And then he came to the whole show, the whole weekend, Thursday to Saturday, shot everything he could shoot, and we got some good shit coming out. Yeah,
you guys documented the whole process, kind of almost a Gary Vaynerchuk style of just, you know, everything day to day, you know, minute by minute, just recording and having that basically to have at your leisure, right? And it's important to see from an outsider's point of view what you're going through. You know, even when you're just waking up, even when you're going through, you know, drinking your water, making sure you're making weight, those are the things that you don't necessarily think of when you see someone going through a bodybuilding competition. You know, you see the end result when they're on stage, and that's it.
And the pictures.
Yeah. But you don't necessarily have that background of watching when, you know, that guy's grinding. Yeah. He's, you know, shoving food down his face in the prep or before you go into that prep, and then during prep when, you know, you're working off of X amount of calories and barely surviving, right? Those are the kinds of stories that come out of prep that are really cool and motivate people to do more, right?
Yeah, no, he got some really good raw footage, and that was what I was happiest about because it was real.
Yeah.
Especially that weekend, man. Like it was very, very good footage of just like the real emotion in the moment, and I'm sure he could have got a lot more of me sleeping and shit. Like I was, I was fried, but like that doesn't really make for good video of just me fucking sleeping all the time. But yeah, man, like I do wish we got more like of my day to day.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, okay, first of all, I don't want to talk to someone that long. Honestly, like at that point in prep, I don't have the energy to entertain someone that long in the day, and like half the day is just me eating, sleeping, and training.
Yeah.
And again, it's like I'm not taking his time fucking for 12 hours a day of watching me eat fucking chicken and asparagus.
Yeah.
Watching me nap. Like watching like Dash Berlin fucking live sets from Ultra Music Festival blasting and I'm napping to it. It's fucked up, man. Like it was a weird process for sure, but I mean, yeah, it was crazy to have him like just get that raw footage and like I said before the podcast, like he's a fly on the wall, so he's not asking me to do shit. He's not like nothing staged. I forget he's there half the time because I'm just doing my thing and he's not in the way.
Yeah.
And everything he's got and everything we're gonna release is pretty much raw.
Yeah, I'm excited. And so at last point, you mentioned you were an extremely superstitious individual. Prior to the podcast here, you were talking. What are some of those superstitions that you've got going through those shows?
All right, so So here's the thing: I'm not a superstitious. Like I'm not really, but like I'm very intuitive, and if the signs are there, I will listen. But I'm not like I don't like believe in astronomy or astrology, whatever the fuck it is. Like that's how little I know about it. Like I don't believe in that shit, and nothing against it, but okay, man. So here's a few like little crazy things about this. Is how I knew I was going to win the show. Like this was before even prep started. So my first show ever was October 19th, 2013. It was my first show ever. I won the overall. My last show was October 19th, 2019. I'm like, that's a weird coincidence, right?
Yeah.
So when I won the Classic Physique overall, that was my 10th show. Or sorry, that was I wore number 10.
Okay.
Like my button number. I wore number 10. So number 10 to me is first my birthday, December 10th. But second, that's literally my number for everything. Like everything I've played, like that's my number. Like we all have our number.
Yeah.
Number 10 is my number. I won the overall wearing number 10. Like that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So this last show that I did was my 10th show. And I'm like, that's pretty fucking crazy. And then there's just like so many, and then there's other things. Like I used that same song that I won the Classic Physique overall with this posing routine.
Okay.
I hadn't used it since, but I'm like, you know what? Like let's push our luck here.
Yeah.
And
why not, right?
Yeah, number 88 I wore, and people are like, oh, like that's a lucky number. Again, like I'm not that superstitious, but I'm like, I had like 10 people tell me.
Wow.
Like that was weird to me. I'm like, how the fuck do all these people know that 88 is a lucky number? Like I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
then I find out right before I go on stage, 88 is my coach's birth year. I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like there's stars are aligning, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not very superstitious, but if the signs are there. And then the point that I made to you earlier was I've done 10 shows. There's 2 shows that I didn't take a picture of myself with my number. Those 2 shows are the 2 that I won the overall with. And this is just something I randomly thought of right before the show, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So I didn't take a picture of my number this show, and I fucking, and I won. So, like, I don't know, man. Like,
So no more pictures of the...
No more pictures of the number before the show, man, because I don't know. It's bad luck, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'd go as far and say it's bad luck, because I think... you've proven that you put the work in, you've done the time, you're dedicated, and you're motivated. And I think those coincidences, that's the way I would look at it, just because I think, regardless of whether you were wearing number 88 or 82, I think you probably would have won that show no matter what. But it's nice to have those little things in the back of your mind as reassuring.
Working on your side, man, and that was all. That's all it was. I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna win because of this. It was like, this shit's pretty fucking crazy. Like, I already have that confidence, and like everything else is going. Like, that was the other thing. Like, my whole prep, like, okay, every prep I get really hungry.
Okay.
I get overly lethargic. I get very toxic. I just feel unhealthy. I get like I crave food. I eat a lot of shit. So like I don't eat anything that I'm not supposed to eat in prep.
Yeah. And
I start to crave bad. And I had no cravings. I had no hunger. I had energy when I needed to train. My cardio never once. As much as I pushed it, it was still always therapeutic. And that was a huge difference because the first half of the prep it's therapeutic, and the last half you're just grinding. Like you're just, oh my god, I fucking hate this. But this time, like, everything to me was therapeutic, and I'm like, man, I literally asked my coach, I'm like, and like literally the day of the show, I'm like, yo, like, am I fat? Because like I feel good, man. He's like, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't feel that bad. Like I'm thirsty, but like I don't feel like shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, am I not in shape? Something's wrong. And like, I don't know, man, the whole prep itself was just too smooth. That's when I started to question myself. I'm like, yo, like, this is going too well.
Yeah.
Like, something's got to crash and burn. Funny enough, actually, so it sort of almost did crash and burn. I ordered a posing suit online.
Okay.
And I got it, and I threw it on like 2 weeks out, and it was a bit snug. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to shrink down anyway. Yeah. I threw it on Thursday afternoon. I'm just about to leave for Mississauga to get my tan. And my nuts are hanging out of my suit. So I'm like, yo, like, I can't wear this. I can't wear this on stage. Like, my nuts are hanging out. Like, what the fuck? I literally did not have a posing suit leaving for the show.
And I'm assuming that these are not something that you can buy at your local corner store.
You cannot just go to fucking Walmart and buy a posing suit. So, and again, the fucked up thing is I wasn't even stressed. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I just got to get a suit now. Yeah. And the show's tomorrow, and there's no posing people, like no posing suit companies that they're gonna be there till tomorrow. Like, I don't know what time they're gonna be there. Like, they might be there late. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And I messaged my coach. I'm like, hey, man, can you ask your client for his posing trunks? And he's smaller than me, so I'm like, I don't even know if they're going to fit. And then Maggie messaged this other suit company, Crystal Creations. I'll give her a shout out because like she literally lined up 4 suits for me for Amber to come get because he's in Scarborough, she's in Scarborough, and he hadn't left yet. And again, like that was lucky too. Yeah. And so we picked up the four suits for me. And so I ended up leaving with no posing suit and arriving to Mississauga with 5. Wow. Like, and again, I probably should have been stressed, but like...
It goes to show the camaraderie as well, though.
Yeah, and I was just so confident, man. Like, I was just like, cool, like, if this is the only thing that goes wrong, I mean, it's pretty fucked up because I kind of need a posing suit to go on stage. But if that's the only thing that's going to go wrong this weekend, cool. Yeah. And then it was like, sort of like, back of my head, I'm like, I still have to make weight. Like, I was 194 Thursday morning. Wow. And then I weighed in 186 Friday morning.
Damn. Yeah. And so, what's that mentally like for that day? You're just dried out.
Yeah, it's just in the back of your head, man. You're just like, okay, just gotta make weight. And then you're like, okay, I'm just not gonna eat. Like, I stopped eating. I think I only had fish and asparagus. I had 3 meals that day. No water, really. I think I had less than half a water bottle of the whole day. And then I stopped everything at 8 p.m. Yeah. Passed out by like, I don't know, 9:30 maybe. And then it's funny because Amber messaged me in the morning at like 5. He's like, hey man, how are you feeling? I'm like, honestly, bro, like for the first time in 12 weeks, I'm feeling kind of hungry. And then it passed 30 minutes later. Yeah. And then I was good. Like, and then we got a scale brought to us by one of his clients, and I weighed myself with my clothing on at like 8:30, like 189.8. I was like, oh, sick. Yeah. Like that was, and then from there on out, like, what am I stressed about? Yeah. I just gotta eat.
There you go. Well, first of all, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot in this hour myself. I'm sure Jordan and Creative Fro over there learned a lot as well. Tell us where we can find, or where Athletes Podcast listeners can find your material. What are your Instagram, Twitter handles? What about anything else associated with your brand?
Right now, my personal brand is just Johnson T93. That's my Instagram. JFP Coaching is my coaching Instagram. Clay and I are actually going to start up he's got his YouTube at Creative Fro and his Instagram at Creative Fro. He's also got his other company, Visual After Visual, right? And so you can find his content there. But me, just Johnson T93, JFP Coaching, and then I have my Facebook page. It's sort of the same as Instagram, Johnson Fitness and Performance. And then we will have YouTube, like my own YouTube. Like he actually just finished one of my JFP videos.
Okay.
We're gonna probably release that by, I'd say, the weekend probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my website dropping very, very, very soon. We're actually just sort of going over everything just to make sure everything's in order. I believe that is just www.jfpcoaching.com.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much where you can find me.
Well, podcast listeners, you guys heard it here. Make sure to go check out the new YouTube video that'll be going live this weekend, as well as all of their Instagram handles. And thank you again, Tyler. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I was driving here and I'm like, who the fuck am I to be on this podcast? You know what I mean? Like I appreciate it, man, because I don't know, where have I ever done a podcast before? I'm like, who am I for you to be like, hey man, you want to come on my podcast? So I appreciate it. Like it's been fucking crazy ass year.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure, man. I really appreciate it, and we'll have you on again once you get that pro win and that Mr. Olympia in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm excited, man.
Let's let it go. All right, take care, listeners. Make sure to follow, listen, and subscribe to the Athletes Podcast. Take care.